Oftentimes, college feels like it is not a right fit for us. Sometimes it just might be a down spot. Other times, you genuinely might want to consider maybe having to go a different route. Well, what does that entail? Where should I go? What should I do? How will I find a job? How will I make myself successful in the future? We've always been told, go to college, get a higher education, and that's how you find success. Well, is that the only path? Not necessarily. Have you ever considered a trade school? Well, you might be wondering, what is a trade school? Never heard of it. Well, a trade school entails an education where you are learning per se, but you're also getting a lot of on the job, real time experience. Some of these educations can lead into the fields of cooking, like becoming a chef, automotive, boat and airplane mechanics. You could be a massage therapist, even a little bit of medical field practices. There are many options that you can take to go into a trade school, get the similar kind of training and jobs that other people are paying so much money and putting a lot of time and effort into a job that might not be available as compared to you where you have experience on top of that educational training. So let's look into it. Why should you go to a trade school versus a college? I'm not saying you should automatically decide, yes, I'm just going to go to a trade school. Think things through. Well, one of the options is college is too expensive. Nowadays, it's common knowledge that college is just becoming more and more and more and more expensive. According to the Idaho Department of Labor, most people get their college degrees at the cost of roughly around $127,000. And the matter of fact is, that $127,000 is not just lying around somewhere in the basement. It's mostly supported by loans. And these loans take a lot of time to pay off, especially with that interest rate stacked against them. Now, when you take a look at a trade school, you have to pay only $33,000 for the entire education while you are learning and working. That's huge. Imagine this. Instead of at a college where you're sitting behind a desk and always behind books and textbooks and tests and quizzes, constant barrage of homework. Maybe it's not the right learning environment for you. Always having to learn the technicalities of everything, it gets to your head. But maybe if you went to a trade school, you could actually experience and apply what you're doing on the job without having to worry about the money. Lots of people drop out of college because of that money. And speaking of money, time is money and money is time. When you think about it, it takes a lot more time to get your degree these days. You see more often than not, people are becoming super seniors, at least spending another semester at a college just to earn their degree. And not just another semester, mostly ends up being a year, or another year, or 3 semesters. Who knows? But not everyone makes it to the end, the finish line, which is the degree. Lots of students actually end up dropping out. According to the Institute of Education Statistics, about 40% of students drop out before even getting their undergrad degree, which is huge. Because if you think about it, you are dropping out in one of the most pivotal moments in your life, which affect whether or not you find a good job. And of course, college is not something that dictates your career for the rest of your life, but it definitely does have a big impact. But it definitely considers all that time and effort you put into taking those tests, and especially if you have people who are paying for your education, they may not be as thrilled when you are dropping out because some might view it as quitting. So that also leads me into my next point, to those who don't quit. What happens after you graduate if you do have that undergraduate degree? Well, according to the Economic Policy Institute, there is a decline and a decline in the job market and a rise in the amount of unemployment. With a rise in unemployment and the fall in the amount of job openings there are, it's hard for people when they have a degree all that time. Okay, I studied so hard for this degree. Now what do I do with it? A lot of jobs look for experience. and whether or not you've been in the workforce before. It's incredibly difficult for students to find any sort of job experience when they spent most of their time studying and being in their dorms trying to study for the next test rather than going out and getting on the job experience. Because of the job market declining, the trade school offers an alternative, having that immediate job market. Because these jobs are very on the ground, in the field, right now, there's always a demand. Because all people are always going to need their cars fixed, or they always need to have restaurants need to be filled with chefs. All these these non-technical but rather more hands-on experienced jobs are always in demand. And it's very easy to get into, very cheap, cost effective, and with the short amount of time, you're going to be paying off if there are any expenses in no time. So, is trade school the only alternative? No. Some people just might be hitting a difficult spot in college, and I encourage them seek out the resources they need to get their grades up, continue to do better, and push on through to get their degree. Because there may not be as many job openings, but there are job openings. Second, some people might want to drop out and enlist in the military. The military is an excellent alternative to colleges because they provide benefits, they provide places to stay, they will feed you, and it's job security. You won't have to worry about any of that because they will make sure that you're taken care of first. On top of that, they have other extraneous benefits like, most importantly, maybe getting another education that will be paid for, 100% free, just because you are in the military. The military is an excellent alternative, but not for everyone. Lastly, you can always find a work outside of any military organization. It could be working at a fast food restaurant, or it could be working at your local grocery store. It's not the most effective, but it'll get the job done. Now the big question is, what should you do now? Should I go to a trade school? Well, that's not an easy decision for you to make, nor is it my decision to make for you. Research the internet, talk with your advisors, utilize your resources. This is huge because it may not just be you that is supporting your own future, but it could be your family or your parents, your friends. Who knows? Talk with everyone. Get a chance to realize what it is that you might be getting into before you make this decision, because you don't want to make another slip up. Of course, there are many opportunities in life. There are always second chances, but you always want to make sure that you decide the best choice and the best course of action. With that being said, my name is Ricky, and I hope you consider why you should go into a trade school.